I think we're recording now. This is the second half on October the 20th for the literature course PIN 428. King Lear's presentation. Here we go.
Me, Javier Aliaga, and my classmate Barbara Ramirez are going to talk about King Lear. Characters. The main characters of this tale are Lear, who is the ancient king of Britain, his three daughters, Cordelia, the youngest one, Regan and Goneril, the oldest ones, and then we have the Earl of Gloucester and his two sons, Edgar and Edmund the Bastard. Plot. Lear, the aging king of Britain, decides to step down from the throne and divide his kingdom evenly among his three daughters. First, however, he puts his daughters through a test, asks to tell him how much she loves him. Goneril and Regan, Lear's older daughters, give their father flattering answers. But Cordelia, Lear's youngest and favorite daughter, remains silent, saying that she has no words to describe how much she loves her father. Lear flies into a rage and disowns Cordelia. The king of France, who has courted Cordelia, says that he still wants to marry her, even without her land, and she accompanies him to France without her father's blessing. Lear quickly learns that he made a bad decision. Goneril and Regan swiftly begin to undermine the loyalty that Lear still holds. After betraying him, Lear slowly goes insane. He flees his daughters' houses to wander on a heath during a great thunderstorm, accompanied by his fool and by Kent, a loyal nobleman in disguise.
Meanwhile, an elderly nobleman named Gloucester, also experiencing family problems, his illegitimate son Edmund tricks him into believing that his legitimate son Edgar is trying to kill him. Fleeing the manhunt that his father has set for him, Edgar disguises himself as a crazy beggar and calls himself Poor Tom, like Lear. He heads out onto the heath. When the loyal Gloucester realizes that Lear's daughters have turned against their father, he decided to help Lear in spite of the danger. Regan and her husband Cornwall discover him helping Lear, accuse him of treason, blind him, and turn him out to wander the countryside. He ends up being led by his disguised son, Edgar, toward the city of Dover, where Lear has also been brought. In Dover, a French army lands as part of an invasion led by Cordelia. In an effort to save her father, Edmund apparently becomes romantically entangled with both Regan and Goneril, whose husband, Albany, is increasingly sympathetic to Lear's cause. Goneril and Edmund conspire to kill Albany. The despairing Gloucester tries to commit suicide, but Edgar saves him by pulling the strange trick of leading him off an imaginary cliff. Meanwhile, the English troops reach Dover, and the English, led by Edmund, defeat the Cordelia-led French. Lear and Cordelia are captured. In the climatic scene, Edgar duels with and kills Edmund. We learn of the death of Gloucester. Goneril poisons Regan out of jealousy over Edmund and then kills herself when her treachery is revealed to Albany. Edmund's betrayal of Cordelia leads to her needless execution in prison, and Lear finally dies out of grief at Cordelia's passing. Albany, Edgar, and the elderly Kents are left to take care of the country under a cloud of sorrow and regret. Setting: King Lear is set in the court of an aging British monarch. Shakespeare probably wrote it around 1604, sandwiched between two other tragedies, Othello and Macbeth.
Historical context and sociocultural background. Okay, first we have the role of the monarch, and this is an important point considering the setting in which this tale was developed, because the monarch controlled everything and the king had absolute control under his all loyal subjects. And this point is related to the second one about hierarchy. This was something absolutely common in these decades because um, the royal family had more faculties. And also another clear example of hierarchy was the case of Edmund in the tale, the son of Earl of Gloucester, which was called the bastard for being an illegitimate son. Then we have literary devices. The first one is an hyperbole, and it says, "Sir, I love you more than words can wild the matter." And it's an hyperbole because an exaggeration is being used. Then we have two hyperbaton. The first one says, "Edgar, I nothing am." And the second one says, "As flies to wanton boys are we to the gods." Both of these are hyperbaton because the order of the words are changed. And the third one is personification, and it says, "I'm sure my love's more ponderous than my tongue." And it's personification because love can't be ponderous because it is not something concrete. Themes. Those are the four main themes of this tale. Family is crucial because all the tragedy involves the family and the fact that not all his daughters love him the same. Also because he realized at the end that he took bad decisions during the first parts of the tale because he did not consider what was more important in a family. And I'm referring to Cordelia's punishment. Then we have power. As Lear was the king of Britain, he has all the power in his hands. However, when he was betrayed by his daughters, he lost all the power.
Reconciliation. We can see this when Cordelia and her father improved their relationship since the king had been angry with her at the beginning of the history. Loyalty. Some of the characters were loyal to the king to the end, including his youngest daughter Cordelia. Relevant biographical references of the author. William Shakespeare was born in 1564 Stratford-upon-Avon. He was an English poet, playwright, and actor. Shakespeare is considered the most important writer in the English language with a universally known words. Hamlet, Romeo and Juliet, Othello. William sought to transmit through his characters different emotions, such as love, jealousy, uncertainty, where fate plays an important role, being this unfavorable and leading its protagonist to an unhappy ending. Actions speak louder than words. This phrase is worldwide known. It reflects the plot of history, because the words of the daughters did not have much value for the king, since the actions revealed something contrary. This plays an important role, being this unfavorable and leading its protagonist to an unhappy ending. Actions speak louder than words. This phrase is worldwide known. It reflects the plot of history, because the words of the daughters did not have much value for the king, since the actions revealed something contrary.
All right, sorry, I thought that accidentally I had pushed the button, but it seems that the recording ended like that, abruptly, right? That was the end of the recording, was it? Javiera?
Yes,
Barbara?
yes, Professor.
Yes, all right.
Yes.
Okay, thank you for the confirmation. Now, because I was a little bit concerned that I might have done something not proper for the not fair in the presentation. Okay, and the room, the classroom is open for everyone to comments, questions, suggestions, because this is Javiera's and Barbara's first report, right? Book report, play report in this case. So anything that you may suggest will probably be taken into account for the next report. I'm going to suggest to the groups who presented Othello, Hamlet, right before, right, in the first half, and Javier and Barbara, who are presenting or recorded presentation for King Lear, to suggest um, links for the plays. Not alive, of course, but I mean, why not? But recorded versions of the plays, so that you can suggest which plays the rest of us could watch in YouTube, for example. Okay, if you have links to videos in YouTube, so we can watch any of these three Shakespearean plays, I would really appreciate you if you could share them through Teams or send them to my email. I can post them. I can post the link and the links in the LMS. Okay.
Okay.
So any comment, any questions, any suggestions? Camila, Carla, Consuelo, Cristobal, Javier, Jocelyn, Catherine, Mariana, Visania.
Uh, I I wanted to say something that caught my attention. In comparison to Hamlet and Macbeth, in this book there is no like a supernatural appearance like in the other cases where the ghosts and the witches, or if there is a, or if there is one, um, I miss it because um, there is another story, a different story, but with the same setting, like the royalty. Why do you think is that?
I think that Shakespeare tried to represent something that could be true, because as you mentioned, there were not ghosts and characters like that. So I think that's why.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
Professor, we can't hear you.
Thank you so much, Consuelo. When students are presenting, I usually pay attention to the microphones that are on. So that's why I know who's speaking. Whenever I'm not very familiar with the voices. So, or particularly when they are quite similar in terms of pitch, right? High pitch voices. So who was in charge of the plot, Javiera?
The first part of the plot,
Mm-hmm.
I told it, and the second and the third was Barbara.
Perfect. And the themes, who was in charge of the themes?
Both.
Both. Who was in charge of the first part?
Me, Javiera.
Okay. First part, second part, Barbara. Okay, biographical information?
Uh,
Barbara. Gotcha. Okay. Barbara, I have a question for you. All right. The question is, it could be a personal question. I mean, you can answer it from your personal perspective, or you can use any quotes from the play. All right. What do you think what do you think the role of women is in this play? Because we have Cordelia, we have Goneril, we have Regan, and how do you think women are described or depicted here in this play?
I think that this period that the story was present, and the women were very submissive. I don't know it is the correct word. Professor?
Submissive, yeah, that's an English word.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. Uh-huh. But Cordelia, it was very different because she was very strong. She she didn't do what the father said that she had to do. I don't know.
Okay, all right. So what do you think Goneril and Regan were submissive? What makes you think they were?
Because they they always did that her father commits them, could be.
Now, don't you think that Goneril and Regan did what their father commanded or requested them to do, because there was some specific interest, particular interest in all the belongings and possessions and inheritance in the kingdom.
Yes, they always follow their husbands also, and
All right, all right. And Javiera, how would you like to complement with your own perception about the role of women here in this specific play?
Yes.
Please.
I was thinking that um, the two oldest daughters, they just did what his father asked them to say, you know. So um, maybe it's more important uh, Cordelia's feelings because she always had good intentions and she was loyal to her father until the end.
All right. Javiera, Javiera, do you think that Cordelia was loyal until the end, or might, do you think she might be, or she might have been a little bit stubborn because she refused to engage in the request given by his father about telling him how much she loved him, and she didn't play that game, the same game that her other sisters played. So was she stubborn or just loyal to her own principles? What's your perception?
I think she was loyal to her feelings because there are more important aspects to consider if you want to know if someone loves you. And I mean actions, not words.
Um, okay, can you go deeper on that? I mean, for you, which would be better than words? I mean, what actions for someone to tell you that he or she loves you?
I mean, in the tale, Cordelia died because of his father. So I think that's the main action that a person can demonstrate if you love someone.
You mean to die for someone?
Yes.
Okay, all righty. And what do you think about this here in this play, Javiera? Because I mean, clearly, Cordelia is the good guy, and Goneril and Regan are the evil sisters. So, how do you think justice is served here? Do you think everyone gets what they deserved in the end, or is there a sense of justice here in this play?
My opinion is that King Lear uh, shouldn't have disinherited his daughter Cordelia because she always had good intentions. So he King Lear wasn't very fair because the oldest daughters at the end betrayed him.
Right, right. Thank you so much, Javiera. And going back to Barbara, please, this is for everyone in the room. Up the conversation at any moment, all right? Because it's just, I feel like we're talking just the two of us or three of us, and more people could participate, right? Barbara, there are two themes and concepts that are quite permanent in this story. One of them is madness, and the other one is blindness. Madness and blindness. Barbara, could you refer to these two concepts and how they are developed throughout the play? Madness and blindness, please.
Okay, let me think. Um, Blindness could be developed through Lear and the daughter situation when she said to him she did not have words how describe her love for his father, for her father, and so gets mad because of it. I think that it's one reason.
All right, all right.
There is no sense. There is no sense of affection because he wanted another thing, other things. He wanted proofs.
Thank you so much.
Also,
Uh,
he does not trust in feelings. He trusts in words.
all right. Thank you so much. Javira, the same question. Would you like to develop and elaborate on it? The concept of madness and blindness in the play?
I was thinking the same as Barbara said, because of the situation that appears in the tale, that related to the flattering and all that. Because of that, the king got insane, you know.
Right. Now well, that's one character, right? That's one main part of the story. Now, there's another subplot, right? Gloucester's story. King Lear becomes mad at some point, and Gloucester becomes blind. Both of them have, well, Lear has daughters, Gloucester has sons, but by going one of them mad, which is King Lear, and Gloucester becomes blind, right? In the end, both of them, by lacking some of their faculties, human faculties, still they realize at some moment during the moments of madness and blindness about the true feelings and true plans for each one of the sons and daughters, right? Lear realizes who's actually the pure-hearted one, as in this case Cordelia, and who just wanted, through flattering him, to gain control of the kingdom. And Gloucester becomes blind, but eventually realizes who has the best intentions among the sons, right? So these concepts about losing your mind, losing the eyesight, um, it's interestingly enough portrayed, because eventually even though they lose these faculties, right, they are still able to perceive reality closer to what it really is. So after going through this process of growing blind and losing sight, this is when they actually are thinking clearer or seeing things more clearly. So that's interesting in this play, that you go mad, but you understand more reality, or you go blind and you see actually what's going on around you, right? So it's interesting in this way, and because flattering, which is to say, if you're not familiar with flattering, well, I guess you can explain, right? Javiera, can you explain the concept of flattering? I think you used the word for those of your classmates who might not be familiar with the concept. Flattering. What is to flatter? Who was flattering whom?
Flattering is when you expect to tells you something. How can I say it? For instance, a professor, you are the best professor in the world. That's an example.
Yeah,
And
you're flattering. Yeah, exactly.
and the king expects that his daughters flattering him. And in this case, Cordelia's didn't do it.
Yes, the thing is, you're trying to please the other person, right? You're trying to be you try to show your affection, for example, but it's too excessive, it's too insincere, or you do it because you want to gain something because of it, right? You want to gain someone's favor, you want to gain someone's wealth, in this case, someone's, or the king's territories and everything that the king owned. So that's the point. In which, and I wanted to judge Cordelia, the one who was thought to be the most loyal to father, to the king, because at some point, if she was originally the favorite one, she should have known probably the way that this king was going to act, which was quite selfish, because Lear is a king who wanted this gratification. He wanted to be praised. He wanted to be flattered. He wanted to hear these positive comments from his daughters. And if Cordelia was the favorite one, probably she should have known that was his selfish behavior, a natural selfish behavior. But she refuses to follow that game, to play that game, and that's how well, all the rest happens, right? So, and my question originally about the role of women, because they are portrayed as quite powerful characters in the story. If you remember, some of the tales in the Canterbury Tales, many women were portrayed as submissive and passive towards the man's decision, except probably the wife of Bath. But in here, we see women that take control of their lives and decisions, and they really want to assume the power, right? They really want to be in charge, but they follow different roads, right? They follow different make different decisions actually. Um, So I saw in the chat box that Consuelo Fernandez shared a link for Othello, and Cristobal Santelices shared a link for Hamlet. So if you, Javiera or Barbara, could do the same, that would be wonderful. So the idea is that we could watch this, right? Because this is, I mean, you're expected to know somehow what's going on in Othello, Hamlet, and King Lear, and also able to make comparisons or contrast the not necessarily the plot, but for example, Cristobal mentioned one very good point of comparison, which was how come there are no supernatural elements in King Lear? Elements, supernatural elements that are part of Hamlet, Macbeth also, right? So try to find the ways in which these plays might be similar and in which way these plays might be different, which elements they might share in common, and which elements are only part of one of them. Okay. Any further questions, any comments, anything that was left unsaid, something you would like to point out before we close up the session? All right then. So I'll see you next week. I think next week is assessment week. We're having this written test. The written test is everything up to today. Okay, that means Beowulf, Canterbury Tales, Shakespearean sonnets, and the three Shakespearean plays, King Lear, Hamlet, and Othello. There's
Professor,
yes.
are we having classes on Friday?
That's a good question. I think we are having regular classes on Friday, or you can use the time in order to study and prepare for the test. That's totally up to you.
Okay. The test is going to be an speaking or is a written test?
This one, it is a written test. I mean, yes, I mean written, but you know, through through the LMS. So it's digital. I don't know how to call it.
I don't know, but I get it. Thank you.
Okay. Alrighty. Alrighty. So we can have the Friday session for questions, right? Or as I mentioned before, you can take it to prepare for the test, right? That we're having during the assessment week. I think the test is going to be the day that we have scheduled classes on Tuesday, right? Tuesday, 10:50 up to 1 o'clock. There's another forum number 2 on the Canterbury Tales, which is something I mentioned before the previous session. Take a look at the forum and make sure you comply with the requests or the instructions, which is one original post and reply to somebody else's post. Okay. What else? That's on my part. Feel free to ask any questions if those questions pop up in your mind after the session is finished. But let me know through an email or send a message through Teams. Okay.
Okay, Professor. Thank you.
Alrighty. Thank you. Have a wonderful day. It's very sunny. It's beautiful. It's not raining anymore. So let's try to make the most of it. The recordings have been uploaded in the same I'm going to do with today's presentations or reports. Okay, I'm going to upload them to the LMS for you to take a second look if you want. I'm going to stop recording.